Okay, welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone. So this is the big one. We got a pre-match talk ahead of the big match on the weekend. So we're playing Cardiff at the Liberty Stadium, 5:30 on Saturday the 20th of March. So I want to welcome Lee back to the chat, and also Amy is here with us as well.
Hey.
So I know you've been here a couple of times, Amy, but obviously as a guest, if you want to tell everyone where they can find you as normal.
Sure. On Twitter, it's Amy Clement 94.
So go check out Amy. She's always tweeting about the football and loves to interact with reasonable debates. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. There's a line.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put Bournemouth behind us. Looking at the bigger picture before, now the dust has settled and stuff, okay, it's still only one defeat against a side that I would say on paper is better than ours. Yeah? Is that fair to say?
Definitely.
Obviously, you'll go into details and look at the
fair.
performances and there'll be questions, but whatever. We've got to move on and it's a big one, so we've got no time to dwell on it. So how are we feeling ahead of the Cardiff match? Lee, if I start with you then, how are you feeling?
A wreck, as always. It's just not fun to watch at all, is it? I'm the worst spectator ever, just like nervy and pacing and drinking to help. But just nervous because you just have no idea how it's going to go. Even though we've been playing rubbish, it's a derby, so whatever's gone before it is out the window.
Yeah.
So I have absolutely no idea.
I should have pulled up the results from the previous games that we've gone into the derbies from the last year or so, because I think last year we lost 3-0 to Brentford before one of them.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there was another one where the other one we didn't go into it with the best form. Was it like QPR? We got thumped in the cup and then went, was that right?
Yeah, I say last year.
But yeah, so Amy, how are you feeling ahead of Saturday?
Again, similarly, just like nervous. I'm finding myself getting more and more nervous for every game now, though. Like, not even just this one, like every game. I feel like for such a long time, we sort of knew what we were getting. Like, there was a bit more, certainty of, we know what we're getting. But at this point, we come out and we look like a different team every week. So it's kind of like, who's going to turn up? But yeah, obviously, I'm very much looking forward to it. But I know it'll be a stressful 90 minutes.
It's going to be stressful. I think even if we went into it, unbeaten all season, we'd probably still be stressed because they'd be the ones that potentially end it, isn't it? So it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It's always just the game that you can't call. Okay, so I feel a bit I'm not confident, but I'm not unconfident either, really, because in recent history we've done right against them. You know, we've shown this season that we can bounce back from bad results. And in my memory, I say recent memory, last 10 years or so, we've always been up for a South Wales derby. We haven't really lost many and we haven't conceded many goals. So we haven't conceded in the last 4, I believe.
Is it 4? Wow.
Is that right? God.
I mean, it was obviously this season, twice last season, and then the 3-0 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be right then, yeah. Bloody hell.
So
it's been a while since we lost that.
I mean, touch wood now. I don't want to. Arguably, we've got a better defence now than we've had in any of those games. Well, obviously this season earlier as well. But so yeah, look, I'm not confident, but at the same time, I'm not unconfident. I'm kind of just in the middle. I don't want to say either way. So let's look a little bit more in detail then. So looking at the form of both teams, and we only usually do this over a 5-match radius. So Swansea then, as much as we lost in the last game against Bournemouth, we've only lost 1 in our last 5 with 3 wins and a draw. So again, on paper, without
feels
looking,
like more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Without looking at anything else on paper, that form is not awful at all. It's still pretty good. Cardiff, and I'm sure everyone in their minds feels like Cardiff have done really well since Mick McCarthy's come in. But Cardiff in their last 5, 1 loss, 1 win and 3 draws. So it's not as good as it was because they did have a 6-match winning streak, which was also an 11-match unbeaten streak, I think, under Mick McCarthy. And then obviously he signed a new contract. He's got manager of the month. And all of a sudden the wins have started drying up a little bit. and so have the goals if you take away the 4 they scored against Derby. However, I will point out the game that they lost was against Watford, and they probably should not have lost that game. The keeper decided he didn't want to be a goalkeeper anymore and jumped out of the way of the football, which, as much as I don't support Cardiff, would have done us a world of good if they had drawn our match. Because it would have knocked 2 points off Watford's score, and we'd only be 1 point behind them currently. But
it was just like us, though, wasn't it? They needed Bournemouth to lose to me, so we did a massive favour and just took a dive and lost 3-0, and then we needed them to beat Watford, and they lost 2-1. So
yeah,
I think we're just returning favours.
Yeah, you could say that. So that's the real reason we lost to Bournemouth. I was speaking to some friends who are Cardiff fans, and one of them was saying, actually it was quite funny, because on the day of when we both played the other day, he texted me when they drew with Stoke, being like, don't worry, you don't have nothing to worry about on the weekend, we are awful. So I just copy and pasted the message back to him after we lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. But he's saying like he's not confident at all. He's saying like for him they have to win to salvage anything from the season, because he considers the playoffs to be done for them. He doesn't think they're going to get there. Not that he thought they were going to before the manager change anyway. And the only thing that would salvage anything this season is them beating us, because if we go up or finish in the playoffs or second, like they just can't cope. That's basically what he was saying. So depends how much the manager can get them up for this game. So
Wow.
Any players from Cardiff that we are worried about then?
Always Kiefer.
Yeah.
He's always a worry, isn't he?
I mean, I think he's been pretty good under Mick McCarthy. I think, did they work together before Ipswich? I believe Kiefer was there before. I think Kiefer was at Ipswich before he went to Wigan, and I think it was when Mick McCarthy was there.
That's interesting then.
I mean, I'll fact check that one, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. Anyone else, Lee? Got any Cardiff players that are making you worry?
Well, the obvious one again would be Harry Wilson, wouldn't it? With everything that went on, where we nearly signed him, and then they signed him, and then we've been having digs about the loan fee and everything. So it's just written that he would score, isn't it? I gotta say, Vokes as well. He's been playing well. Scored a couple of good goals for them. Apart from that, not really many stand out for them, is it? But just a solid unit, as they always are.
Yeah, it's not a bad squad, is it? It's just that, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So Cardiff have changed formation under Mick McCarthy, so they kind of do quite similar to what we are doing. They're doing 3 at the back now. Rather than having 2 up top, though, they seem to play 2 behind Kiefer Moore. So Harry Wilson actually didn't start against Stoke, so perhaps he's going to start this game. He's playing Leandro Bacuna in that sort of right attacking midfielder side, which he's a bit of a versatile player then, because I've seen him playing right back a couple of times and centre midfield. Didn't realise he was that attacking. Seems weird for me. I would say Harry Wilson surely starts there, but I'm not the manager. Another one that my friend's been raving about is that Perry NG wing back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fullback.
Yeah, I saw that the time that he was on the EFL team of the week, and everyone was like, he's not as good as Robert.
Yeah.
And so there was a whole argument about that.
So that's a massive battle this weekend then, because he's the left-sided. He played on the left against Stoke, so he'd be down the same side as Roberts.
That's good. That'll answer the question.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's a good answer.
That'll be good to see.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I mean, Roberts has been a little bit not himself the last couple of games, so
Man of the match curse, that.
Yeah.
It's just,
He's
you
been
honestly
saving
couldn't
himself for this
write
game.
it. It's so ridiculous. You get manager of the month, or you get man of the match, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done for.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's played like 90 minutes week in, week out, didn't he? I say week in, week out, twice a week, twice out, if you like, for all season. So maybe he is running out of gas, because I think that's probably the least rotated position in the squad.
I mean, have we ever played anyone else there this season?
I don't think started. Maybe Norton once. I don't know. I don't even think we have.
I don't know. I think Freeman came on for like 10 minutes in the Man City game when we were like the game was over. And that was it.
And I
Other than
think he
that,
gave the
he's
ball
played
away every time he touched it, and he hasn't kicked the ball since.
No. No.
Okay, well,
Because I was thinking, I had in my head that they were going to get a nice break now with the international break, but Conor Roberts is going to play for Wales, and he'll probably play all the games
well,
for
hopefully,
Wales.
are they taking? There's another right back that's just come through the ranks of Wales, isn't there? I can't remember who it is though, but I think he's been called up. Hopefully he starts.
Williams,
Oh yeah, Nico Williams. Hopefully he starts ahead of Roberts. As much as I want Roberts to do well for Wales, I kind of want him to have a rest.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
I didn't, and Manning and Horahan got called up for Ireland as well.
To be fair,
leave him alone for the rest of the season.
Manning, you think Manning would be able to deal with it because he had a long. Well, he didn't play much until recently, really, which he's getting in a team. And I'm expecting. We'll touch on this later, but I'm expecting Bidwell comes back in for this game, so it's not really the end of the world there. Okay, speaking of, we started speaking about team changes. Before we get there, I just got a question for you. We did speak a bit about the form. Has the new manager bounce ended at Cardiff under Mick McCarthy then? Is it done?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always that thing though of like, they've been pretty bad now. They'll want to turn it around. Like it's that time to do so, isn't it? Like you say, it's that turning point for them, this game. And it's the same for us, I think, It's a big turning point just before we have a break. But yeah, that you hope that they've had their run and that's it. We've been generally a bit more consistent over the time, but we'll have to wait and see.
Put it into perspective before you answer, Lee. This game, theoretically, you could say ends Cardiff's playoff hopes if they lose, while it also could end our automatic promotion hopes if we lose. That's how big it could be. It's quite scary actually thinking of it like that.
It seems like every derby now has just like especially in the last sort of 10 years, it's always had something on it because we're always both looking at the playoffs or like in the Premiership, both trying to stay up, and now we're going for promotion. They're looking to get in. It's not even just a derby anymore where it's already nervous enough.
Yeah, and
it's like you've got to, like, if we were both in mid-table now, it probably we'd still be nervous.
But we'd be on the beach and it wouldn't matter, would it?
As well.
It matters now. That's the problem. So it's even more nervy. And to make matters worse, and how important it is for us to get a win, Watford are at home to Birmingham City this weekend.
I literally just checked that.
Yeah, and Brentford are at home to Nottingham Forest. So, I need to stop looking.
While, isn't it?
Yeah,
I feel like we've had a tough few games recently, though.
This is our tough week.
Blackburn was hard. Luton was pretty hard.
Our their run-ins are arguably worse. But sometimes you want to be ahead and then deal with what's in front of you rather than playing catch up. So it could be the case.
They've got Middlesbrough, Watford, Reading, Norwich, and Brentford before they play us. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Okay, so team then. I've wrote some stuff down in terms of discussing the team because we know he's probably not going to make a whole host of changes and probably wouldn't want him to. First one is a big question, and we did touch on this and had quite a lot of debate actually when we posted a little snippet of it on Twitter. Does Lowe drop out? And if he does, who comes in? You're laughing there, Lee. You got something to say?
I don't know, it's hard because you can just imagine if he scores again and wins the derby. That just makes him, doesn't it? Again. But just stripping all that away, I think he needs to drop out, and I would be playing Whittaker. I know he probably won't do it, but that's what I would, because he played well in midweek, so I'd be tempted to put him in. Or Routledge. I saw a few people on Twitter saying Routledge actually to start, which might be good because he knows what it's all about.
He's done the derby,
and we know what we're going to get with him.
Yeah, remember when Potter started, like, Routledge and Dyer were not involved for like the first couple of games under Potter. We had a bit of a bad run, and all of a sudden he puts Routledge and Dyer on the wings just because they knew what it was about. Like, they have not played this season basically, and then we ended up winning that game. I think we did win that game, didn't we?
It was Cooper. It was last year, wasn't it? Because Cardiff were.
Was Cardiff it Cooper?
When we came down? Yeah.
Might
The
be
first
Cooper.
season with Potter, Cardiff went up, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Cooper last year.
The year before.
My mistake. You are right, yeah. I just remember it looked like they were out of the picture. Then Dyer had a period and then he went away again. But Routledge, obviously, he was talking about, like, maybe my time has come. He comes back in and he's still here now, isn't he? So maybe he does something like that again, because Routledge, obviously, he used to play for Cardiff as well, which I think a lot of people forget. But he's definitely Swansea side in terms of the derby, and scored that fantastic goal in the 3-0 win in the Premier League under Gary Monk. First goal. Pablo Hernandez, hell of a ball through and a good finish. Okay, so what about you then, Amy? Low? What do you think?
I think the same, to be honest. I think, unfortunately, like, he's been given the opportunity to change this form, and he's not doing it. Like, I would say he did look more lively this time round. Like, he looked rested, which was good. But he just, like, I don't want to be too mean. Like, I don't want to bash a player ever, but he gets the ball and he's losing it, I don't know, 75% of the time in midfield.
Yeah.
And you can't be doing that, particularly against, like, Bournemouth. Like, that's why, part of the reason we were hammered by them, because we just kept losing it. But like you say, Lee, about the, if he can score 2 against Cardiff, then, maybe it's the right game for him. Maybe it's a defence that he can work well against. But I don't know if you can risk it at this point. I would start Rowley.
It's the sort of thing where, like, it could work out. And I think if he scores against Cardiff, he might, like, his confidence just goes up there again, which is what he needs. But at the same time, he might just be, like, crap, like he have been. Yeah. And we can't afford
10
that.
10 games left as well. We need to win every game, regardless whether it's a derby. Like, we need to figure out a way to win.
Yeah,
exactly. He's not doing that.
Yeah, so I think all round we're saying Low to drop out. I do feel sorry for him, but then at the same time, like, I don't know, maybe we aren't playing to his strengths, but then I don't know what his strengths are at this point. I'm confused. I don't really know how we should be utilising him, because, like Lee said in the last video, when he went out onto the wing, he still didn't do anything. So
he can put quite a good cross in.
Yeah.
Like, he can, but we don't play like that, really. We use our wing-backs for that, so
he's not got an assist this season, so, he hasn't when he hasn't scored, he hasn't been offering much at all, really, so it's a shame, because he definitely, I don't know, it's a weird one. It is a weird one. Cooper obviously has faith in him, and I don't know, it could just be a situation, like, looking at the bigger picture, Andre Ayew, Jamal Lowe are not strikers, and we've just shoehorned them into our system, and maybe that is just the reason we're not getting the best out of either of them. And it's more highlighted now because we're in a patch where we are struggling. I'm not saying that's an excuse for some of the times where he's not worked so hard, but I mean, I'm sure he had a good season at Wigan last year. I thought they rated him quite highly.
Yeah, I don't know where. I'd love to. I obviously didn't follow Wigan that much, but I'd love to see where they were playing him, what system they were playing.
I'm going to see how many goals.
I believe they played him on the wing.
He scored 9, I think.
I mean, Wigan obviously ended up getting relegated as well, so, but for maybe other reasons other than their performances. But it's a bit of a weird one. But, at the end of the day, we got him on a cheap bun for the price we paid for him. He's not done an awful job, has he? Just maybe necessarily isn't what you want to start in every game.
Yeah.
But then we don't have an abundance of options either, so...
I know, I keep thinking about Liam Cullen now. Like, at the time, I thought, it's all right. We'll manage. But now I'm like, actually...
And Morris.
Having another option. Yeah, it'd be so good.
Cullen and Morris. How I would have both of them available right now is like...
Yeah.
We'd be much better off, let's be fair.
And Morris would definitely offer pace, which we probably seem to be lacking a bit of, to be honest. Okay, moving on from Jamal Lowe. Defence. So we've had a couple of configurations in the last couple of games. Latibodia went off with an injury in the last game, so I would assume he drops out. I haven't seen if Geehy is available for the weekend, but let's assume he is. What back three are you going with, Lee?
Well, if they're all fit, like I said, and after the Bournemouth game, because Norton and Bennett both played Saturday and Tuesday, I won't be surprised come kick off that one of them's on the bench or not even on the bench, just because they've picked something up. But if they're all fit, then my three will always be Bennett in the middle, and then Norton right and Guehi on the left. That's got to be the three for me when they're all fit.
Okay, Amy, same question.
Yeah, exactly the same for me. I think they're the ones we've had the most success with at the back, I think. And like Norton, shout out to Norton for Bournemouth because he was so good.
Yeah.
Without him, it would have been worse. It would have been much worse. So yeah, he definitely needs to start, and Bennett again, and Guehi obviously. I think if he's fit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just 1-0 Bennett header? That would be it for me. That would be it.
It would be the day to do it.
Lee will be having a session if that happens.
That would be it.
I agree with you. Norton, I thought, had a really good game against Bournemouth, all things considered. But it's been some of the fans have been criticising him even for that game, which I don't really understand because he made some last-ditch tackles that others weren't there at the end of the day. It wasn't, I don't think, his fault for any of the goals.
He also pushed
really
up quite a lot. He also pushed up quite a lot, which is like the other side wasn't doing that. I
think he's quite consistent.
I agree.
I think he covers Connor Roberts well as well. I think he allows Connor Roberts to get forward because he's a right back on that right side. When Connor Roberts goes forward, he can just sort of tuck in behind there, can't he?
Yeah.
Which he does. You notice on the other side that maybe like Bidwell doesn't get as far forward as Connor Roberts does or as often as he does.
It probably does when Guehi's there.
Factor is Callum.
When Latty's been there, I think maybe that could be one of the reasons why they haven't been so impactful on the left. If Latty's been there, not used to it, like Guehi's usually there, they know he's going to be covering and how they work. What was the other thing? I was going to say with Norton, just while we're on him, I think he was made a bit of a scapegoat the year we went down from the Premier League. I don't think he was half as bad as what some people make out, but people literally go in on him for that season, saying that he just was not good enough. Personally, when you look at the stats as well, he comes out, in terms of the Swansea team, top on various defensive stats like tackles made, interceptions. I can't remember the exact ones. I looked at it at the time, and I just think he's definitely someone that people just like to... I don't know why, but
I don't know either.
People always pinpoint him as being not good enough.
It's classic Swans, though, isn't it? We always got a scapegoat. I mean, you see, like when we came down, or maybe not when we came down, but more so last season, Grimes was the scapegoat. And then, like this season now, it just sort of fluctuates between Woodman and Horahan. When things go wrong, they seem to take.
It's easier to blame someone, though, isn't it, than figure it out.
Gone a bit quiet on Grimes. Yeah. No one seems to hate them anymore. The amount of people I argued with about it last year. Yeah. Okay, so that's the defence. While we're on defence, Cabango, who none of us put in our team, actually signed a new deal. So well done to Cabango. I think he was until 2025. So that's positive because I wouldn't be surprised if some teams are sniffing around him in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely shows potential.
Ladabodier is signed as well, isn't he? He's not on loan.
Yeah, he's a player for us now. He's not on loan.
Yeah, so that's something to look at going forward with those two signed on. Because like Guehi's on loan and Bennett's obviously a bit older and Norton, so having those two, maybe for the future.
And Latibodier is good. Like he's not bad. He's just different to Guehi, and he doesn't. Guehi just is like I don't know how to describe him, but the way he just like dribbles the ball in the middle of the pitch, like you're not going to catch Latibodier doing that. But he's pretty solid. Like.
Well, he was in the Man City Youth Academy for a reason, wasn't he? So he's not going to be It seems to have more of a level head on him than Selena as well, who also came from there.
Mm-hmm.
Who likes to think he's a... Yeah. Well, I mean, his current team's not doing so well, but we won't go into that. He plays for Dijon, doesn't he? They're just on a massive losing streak, so... I mean, maybe it was a good decision to let him go. As much as we are missing creativity. Okay, centre midfield then, who... This obviously is going to depend on your formations and if like you're going to go for 4 with a diamond but you both said Rowledge or Whittaker, didn't you? So in that case, 3 in the middle, who would you pick?
I I'm going again with my usual three of Smith, Fulton, and Grimes.
To drop Horahan.
I don't know. I can't drop Horahan because I can see him scoring a free kick as well. That's the thing.
So do you maybe drop Routledge or Whittaker and put Horahan there instead?
Maybe you flood the midfield, especially if you said that they play two off Kiefer Moore. Maybe you put the four in midfield. Maybe you will do that.
Yeah. So that's why I said in the last video, I said flood the midfield because they're going to try and probably play in the air a little bit more than us. So
yeah, that's right.
Two reasons. If we have the ball, it allows us to pass through them a little bit more, hopefully. And second reason, when they are lumping it up, it gives us that extra cover in midfield to drop back, win the headers if we need to, or pick up the second balls. So that's why I think flooding the midfield for me would be the way to go. What be your midfield three then, Amy, or four if you're going that way?
I mean, it's got to be Grimes and Fulton, 100%. There's no doubt for me on either of those two. I think, without Fulton, I don't think we play as well, and I don't know why. Because some people are like, oh, he's really defensive, and some people are like, he's really attacking. He can just do it all.
I think he's box to box, isn't he? To be honest.
Yeah, he just sort of seems to cover so much ground as well. I think you mentioned in the last video about Smith, not being as good as he was pre-injury, but I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't watch Cardiff enough to know what would hurt them the most.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really watch them.
I always consider a Danda in there because he offers something that some defences would definitely struggle with.
Lee.
But I
Danda.
know the D words. The D words is touchy subject.
I'm not. I don't want to be I'm not so anti-Danda. You've turned me into it. I like him.
It's good for the content.
I'm copying his hair as well. I'm all about Danda.
I was going to say, you got if you dyed your hair, you'd look like same hairstyle, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Got hairband in today as well. He's been wearing a hairband in the last couple of games, hasn't he?
That's what I got to do now because it's an absolute state. I need a haircut.
Where did you play football as well? Didn't you play that sort of cam area, or at least played five-a-side? You did. Yeah,
Really?
He wants to be like Danda. That's all it is.
That's why I'm more critical of him, maybe, because I'm looking at him a bit more often.
Because you can see yourself in him. Yeah. I know what you mean about the Horahan thing with the free kicks and the corners and everything. It's just so at this point I've run out of ideas to know what's the best team. There's no obvious best team at this point. For such a long time there was, and now there isn't.
Horahan has been on the bench a couple of games though, and it's not like those games where he didn't start. Everyone likes to say, the midfield don't function as well when he's there. Those games where he started on the bench, it didn't change anything. So I don't think it is him that's the problem necessarily. Yeah. Also, one of the games, I can't remember which one it was, he came off the bench and kind of was it Luton?
And it was a lot better when he came on.
It wasn't Luton. It was one of the away games.
Middlesbrough?
No, it was an away game.
Stoke it was when he did the diamond.
Yeah, he came on and changed the system.
Yeah.
He came on, changed the system, and it opened up a bit more and actually worked. And that's why he started with that system next game, where it didn't work so much. But that's what I'm saying. He came on and made a positive impact there. I know we also changed the system, but when he wasn't on the pitch, it's not like you can instantly be like, he's not on the pitch, we're doing better, because it wasn't like that. So when everyone is calling him out, being like he's the one that's come into a midfield, and now all of a sudden the midfield is not ticking, I really don't see that being the case. I just think there's a lot of other factors involved. Whether that's tiredness, the fact that we've been playing the same way for a while, people start working us out, the fact that forwards are just maybe not doing enough what we need them to do, we're not creating enough chances. There's a lot of aspects for it. I don't think it's the midfield is necessarily when I've looked at our midfield lately, I don't even think they've necessarily been that bad. Grimes is consistent every game.
Yeah, he is.
Like I said, Smith was a poor in the last game, which I don't use the same level that he has been. But he wasn't awful. He just wasn't necessarily where he was before.
I think the only thing with Horahan for me, just from watching him recently, is that I don't think he's very much like a Premier League player where he's sort of waiting for the delivery a lot rather than going in for it himself. I don't think I've seen him make a tackle, really.
He did in his first game where he came in and slid in the box, but it was his first game, so
I'd like to see a bit more like of that from him, just a bit more like grittiness, I think.
I think his strengths are his creation stuff, funny, rather than his defensive stuff. And that's what we signed him for at the end of the day. And he's been directly involved in 5 goals and whatever assists he's had as well from corner deliveries. So, arguably,
sorry, am I behind again? I think I'm lagging. But no, I was only going to say that I think it's coincided with the way we have dipped in form as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to sort of pinpoint. You said what our best team is at the moment because nobody's really playing that well. If you look back, probably the 2 best performances of the season, you look at Norwich on the Friday night, and Horahan was class.
Well, he scored.
Yeah,
no one else scores that goal in our team.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you've got to have him on the field, because even if he doesn't play well,
he's
probably got that in the locker.
It's like Andre Ayew. Like, you've got to start Andre Ayew. He's not necessarily showing fireworks at the moment, but you just know that he can pop up and steal that goal. 100%. Like Norwich again, like the corner. He put that in the net as well from nothing, really.
You don't want to drop that opportunity. Maybe score something great. Yeah.
It's weird I was saying about Horahan and the Premier League thing though, because he only had a year there really where he was starting.
Yeah,
been a bit of a football league player otherwise, but
maybe he's just it's just not settled in that much. I don't know. I just think I just want to see more from him, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm just like. I can see. I'm craving one of his goals. Like I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Like he all keep saying as well to me that he wanted a Premier League move. So if he did want a Premier League move, like he has got to show a bit more.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Plus, you could get a Premier League move if he helps us get there. So it's not like he's got nothing to work for, because realistically, if we go up, I think it's quite likely we offer him a contract.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because he's a free transfer.
We've kind of talked ourselves out of starting him and then back in, and then.
I know. Yeah.
Well, look, for me then, personally, I'd be Felton, Grimes, Horahan, and I probably would start Smith just because Cardiff they're gonna be physical. So I would maybe bring Dander on second half, but play Diamond. Dander's an option to swap out like for Horahan maybe later on. But then maybe you don't need Dander, you need Lowe, or you need Routledge to come on instead. But we'll see. Last question in terms of selection. Left wing back, Manning or Bidwell? Do you think Bidwell... can't talk. Do you think Bidwell comes back in?
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a bit of a hard one. I don't know why, because he's not... I don't know, he's not really much more defensive than Manning is, but it just seems to be that way that I feel a bit safer.
I agree.
Not conceding goals.
I think he's more physical.
And it's hard to pinpoint why. It's hard to pinpoint why, because like Manning hasn't done anything that wrong defensively, and Bidwell doesn't exactly like sit back. Like he was up for the Middlesbrough penalty, and he's always putting crosses in. But I don't know why. I just feel it's a bit safer when Bidwell is there. Maybe just a feeling.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think Bidwell is a little bit more physical, so for the way Cardiff is going to play, it's going to suit that a little bit more. Like I said, man has not done nothing wrong. For me, this is just a rotation based on the team you're playing. I think Bidwell just suits it better for me.
I think they're quite similar in terms of like standard. Like I don't think you're losing out playing either of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like a bit different.
For me, I think Manning is definitely better attacking, though. I think he's got a better shot on him, and I think he's got a better cross.
Yeah, he looks like he wants to score.
Yeah. Not that he's scored or anything, but he's had a couple from outside the box that have literally been just wide. So, like to see more of that in the future, but I don't think maybe this one is the one to start. He might come on. Like, we've got 5 subs, so if we need an attacking change, that is one that I would consider later on. Okay, so anything else on the team that I haven't touched on that you two would like to mention?
Whittaker, I think, maybe. If you maybe giving him a shot at some point in the game, definitely he'll be so confident off the. I know we lost, but he will be confident off the back of that.
He deserves to come on.
Attention. Yeah.
If he doesn't start, he deserves minutes because he showed that. Like Cooper's been saying he's one for the future. But I think after that performance, then you've got to say, okay, well, carry that on then.
Yeah, just get him on the pitch.
I think it'd be a great time to play him after that on Wednesday. Like you said, he'd be bouncing after that. It'd be great to see him come on. Even if he brings him off the bench. But I don't know if he will start him. I say about the occasion, but I don't know what it's going to be like with no fans. I know, like, it's a derby, but it's not going to be the same, is it? For the
No.
players.
Some of the
Obviously, they'll want to win it.
yeah, I think some of the ones who have been with us longer will know.
Connor
Like
Roberts.
Routledge will know what this. Yeah, I think
Connor Roberts will get up for it, won't he? Like, he'll get everyone
Yeah.
up for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
did
he
you see
puts
the,
2-foot in tackle in on, like, Kiefer Moore's face. I'm joking. Like, mate, you're not going to the Euros.
Imagine the meme afterwards as well. Perfect.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you see the video that Connor Roberts did with that? He bought the season tickets for that kid and his mother. That was brilliant.
So
Is that
gorgeous.
I watched the
That's
start
so
of
good.
it. It was for someone passed away, was it, for some kid?
Yeah. It was his uncle, I think, and used to take him to the Swans games.
Yeah, you like to see stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
it's class.
Really nice.
Hopefully you can take it a step further and get a win for him on Saturday. I'm sure he'll appreciate that as well.
Yes,
And the
please.
goal.
Take that.
Okay, do we drop Woodman? That's the one thing we haven't touched on.
No,
No.
I can't get over this. I cannot get over it. I can't.
No, I don't think we should drop him. But he needs to sort his distribution out because we are struggling to keep the ball a little bit more than we have in the past, and that is really not helping us. When he's
Agreed,
kicking
yeah.
it straight out to play or like just to nowhere. So that is
Yeah.
something that he does need to sort out. But otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't drop him.
Not yet.
Okay, so we tweeted out the other day saying, like, we've basically done the pre-match stuff now. So just asking people about their favourite memories with South Wales derbies and what they like to remember. Obviously, I'll ask Amy and Lee as well. But I got some ones here from people who responded on Twitter. I think we had some in the comments on the last YouTube video as well, did we, Lee?
Yeah, we had a couple there.
I'll get them up now as well. I'll read through those after we've done these. But so to start off with, I've got at Swans Talk, so you can check them out on Twitter, with Leon Britton sending Bellamy face first to the floor. I got a little video for that as well, so if I can try and get that up and show, that would be great. But give me a second. Do you remember that, Lee? Were you at that game?
Yeah, that was the 3-0, wasn't it? I think the Gary Monk one. I think it was that game.
Yeah.
I forgot about that though. I think you put a video. I think they tweeted the video as well. It's just so smooth, isn't it? It's classic Leon Britton.
Yeah. So I've got the video here. I'm just going to chuck it on the
underneath.
screen so I can put it into the video, right? A lovely little two-footed reclaim of the ball, but sees Craig Bellamy face planting the floor, which we all love to see.
Happy days.
Yeah. So I've got Swansea City FC Marley. So the Wilmot first goal for the club, which was obviously last season in a 1-0 win in the Liberty Stadium. And also at Dan Evs, 1987, again saying the Swans 1-0 last year. And how good that was. I think he said he quoted the commentary from Wilmot making his debut and scoring on his debut in the biggest match, really. What are your memories then from the last season's 1-0 win?
I'm trying to think where I was. Do you know when it was in the year?
Yeah,
Do
it
you
was
remember?
just before Halloween, just before Halloween in October, because I actually was, me and the guys from work would go into like a scare maze after the game.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so
I've got October 27th, yeah.
they live like, obviously I'm in Swansea.
27th.
The person whose house we were in is a Cardiff fan. Mentioned him earlier. But he lives in between here and Cardiff, that's what I'll say. But we were in his house. There was actually another one there who used to work with us who was a Cardiff fan. And we were just sitting there watching the game. And that corner goes in. Routledge plays the ball, doesn't he? And I don't think I'm surprised it wasn't kicked out of the house. Let's just put it that way. They were all... So it was us three watching the game. There's a couple of other people there who weren't really interested in football who just found it hilarious that Swansea just scored because those two were Cardiff fans. We were in their house. And yeah, the rest of the game wasn't positive for them, really, was it? So it's a good day for me.
I've just remembered because I was in Bristol with work at the time, and I believe it was a night that we were all going out. Obviously, I work in theatre, so I tend to watch the games like between shows on my phone, and there's no one else really in my team who watches football, like whatever. So I'm just, normally rugby's a different story because we have a lot of South Africans in the company, so that's always a fun thing. But I remember, I think I was watching in the office, like between shows. I'm like watching, like watching the time, like thinking I've got a show in however many minutes, like counting down, and just having no one to be excited with,
Yeah. Well,
which is kind of the story of my life.
everyone will be in that boat this year, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true.
Swans away days then? Oh, go on, Lee.
No, I was going to say I'm a little bit bitter about the derby last year because
Well, the home one.
Yeah, because my friend, selfish enough, decided to get married,
Oh, so you didn't go.
and I was one of the best men, and it was no the stag do actually. The only weekend we could do was that weekend, and on that Sunday was Wales and South Africa in the semi-final in the morning, and then the derby.
Don't
And I
tell
think
me you
like
banned
there
sport
was
as
about
well.
7 or 8 of us. No, no, no chance. There was about 7 or 8 of us on the stag that had season tickets, and we all had to miss the derby.
Oh, no.
We watched it, but like we all had to, and we just never let him.
See, for my wedding, it was a criteria that the date would have to change if it was Swans Cardiff. I'm joking. I think I wouldn't get away with that. Okay, so that's Swans away days. Darren Prattley swim away celebration, being an iconic celebration, and the Alan Tate giving it the large next to Ross McCormack, which you liked that one, didn't you, Lee?
I absolutely love that one because like I remember watching it back, and literally as soon as the ball hits the back of the net, I think he's on the halfway line, and he just turns directly to the Cardiff fans, and he's just like this, and he doesn't move for ages. It's just brilliant.
Did we win that game
this weekend? So. Yeah, I think it was the same game as the Prattley one.
Okay.
The swim away.
At Ryan L96. Monk's first game as manager, so that's the 3-0 again that we touched on earlier, the one with the Leon Britton sliding tackle. 0-0 at half time. Marvin Emnes playing as a cam. That was Monk's first sort of a random thing, but it worked, to be fair. He did alright. But then the key moment was the substitution where Pablo Hernandez came into that role in the second half and played that amazing ball to Wayne Routledge, which to be fair, his finish was also quite good. Who else scored? Wilfred Boney and Nathan Dyer out jumping someone on the far post or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was a good day. We were at risk of going down. You know, we had all the negativity around Michael Laudrup leaving. So to turn it around, and especially when they won the other leg that season with Stephen Corker scoring against us.
Yeah, that was massive. That was to change the manager that week as well, leading into the derby, and Monk taking over and then winning 3-0. That was that's one of the best ones. I think it'll always come up.
Yeah. And the last one, so Chris, who is not with us currently, obviously, but one of the team and Swans cast, saying last away day at Ninian Park where the ref got it by a 50p.
Oh yeah, remember that? It was Mike Dean, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, different sort of memory, but a memory nonetheless. So I'll ask you two then. So Lee, what's your favourite memory from a South Wales derby?
Oh God, I've got a few of that. Ninian Park and Joe Allen's goal, like so late on. That should have been the winner, and we conceded a penalty right at the end of me to draw it. But just if that was the winner, such a lovely goal from Joe Allen. My favourite one though was the League Cup game where Jody Gomez scored the free kick, because it was the first derby in ages. It was the first derby in years, and
Was
it
that
was
when we came up from
the first one? Yeah, we just got promoted to the Championship, so we were going to play them twice that year, but we drew them earlier in the cup as well.
Yeah.
And that was the first one for me. That was when I was old enough to understand, because I'd sort of seen the games before, but didn't really get it until then. I was probably old enough then, so that one was massive.
Amy, got any memories?
I have a good memory of watching the 3-0 win in the Prem with some friends who, you know, I'd said, you know, come on, it's the Welsh derby, like you have to be on my side, you know, and kind of watching the game. I think I watched the game with my boyfriend at the time, some of his friends and some of my friends, and I sort of got them all on side, and it was just one of those days where you just think this has just gone so well for me here. You know, if we had lost, it would have been so bad. But you know, drinks, happy times. You know, it's always going to be good. Yeah.
Couple more on the comments on YouTube then. So Darren Prattley's swim away celebration was iconic from KGR Coys. So thank you for that. And we've also got the last season we lost 3-0. Oh, he's just saying last season we lost 3-0 to Brentford before we beat Cardiff. So maybe that's a positive sign, because 3-0 to Bournemouth. Maybe beat Cardiff. Let's hope.
That.
Well, I think that's all I got then, guys. So have you got anything you'd like to say before we end the video?
No, just that I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it will be a turning point for us. Like it's been pretty rocky, hasn't it? For a couple of weeks. It's probably been more like a couple of months now, hasn't it? But
since like the end of January, I think
it could be the turning point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying looking forward to it. I mean, I am, but I'm not at the same time. I think looking forward to it is the way to describe it, really. But Lee?
Yeah, it's horrible. Let's just have a Swans and Wales double, just to cap off everything. That would be great.
Yeah, we've had a bad year, haven't we? It would be a pretty decent way to celebrate.
Yeah. Well, Wales have been doing the job so far. Let's hope Swans can continue to turn up and see it through as well. I mean, I know obviously, and Wales see it through. It's not done yet, but up to this point, they've done the job. As for our content, so we haven't done a rugby video this week. We'll probably pass. Obviously, as much as like we wanted to try and do it every week, we only play. I don't want to discredit them. It was only the Italian game. I don't think we got too much to say on it because it was quite a routine victory. I think that's fair to say. Obviously, some nice moments, some nice tries to talk about, but we'll just do one after the France game and do them both as like an end of Six Nations special. Maybe next week or the week after during the international break. It'll be a good time to catch up on some stuff like that. Obviously, we'll do a review of the Cardiff game. As this has been a long one, I'm sure that will also be a long one. That will be on Sunday, though, not on Saturday, because we will be too busy getting drunk. Because of the football and the rugby, I'll be honest with you. So there won't be anything on Saturday night. And then, we'll go from there, really. We've got some collaborations, hopefully, and some podcasts coming up, which I believe we're going to be joining. I can't remember who they're called now, Lee. I feel bad. But next week we're joining someone for their podcast. There's been so many messages.
Send them off, isn't it? Send them off.
Send them off podcast. That's the one. So check them out.
Thank you. So many messages. Big time.
Yeah.
I don't mean it like that. I just, it's just trying to keep on top of all the comments and all the messages, which is, it's really positive. Really enjoy it, and always welcome to working with anyone. Just trying to fit it in with the schedule as much as we can. That's all. So on that note, we're going to end the video. So thank you both for joining me. Thanks, Amy, again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the video and leave a like as well, because it helps more people see the video and lets us grow as a channel. So we're on 244 subscribers at time of recording. So
nice.
The next big goal, I guess, is 300. So if we can get there, try and get there, I don't know, by April or mid-April, that would be great. Otherwise, as always, engage in the comments. Tell us what you think ahead of the match. How are you feeling? What do you think the team's going to be? Who you'd like to see start? Any changes? That sort of thing. And on that note, I'll see you in the next video. So thanks again, guys, and see you later.
See you soon.